Welcome to the cutie patootie little gift box here. I love these because they are so much more easy to be creative with. Sometimes our brains don't let us get creative with things that have specific colors and shapes that we have in our head, like a tree. We want it to look like a tree and be green and what have you. So I'm just going around this to start with an outline. I'm not going to worry about up here right yet. So I'm just going to go a little different. I'm outlining in green, but I am going to fill in with white because it's going to be, I'm trying to do this and see. So I'm just flooding with white. And I'm coming right to the green, but I'm not going over it like I would if I were flooding the same color. Sorry, my piping bag rubbed up against the tip of the red piping bag, so we're just playing it a little fast and loose tonight. It's 1 in the morning, and since we are eating these cookies, not a customer, we're just like, woohoo. So I started kind of poorly over here. That's all right. Icing is very forgiving. Except for bumping a little bit here while I stir it. So, however bumpy you are, just come back with your stirry stick and stir. So then, maybe I want, what did I do? I did tiny little polka dots. I think I did it with my thick icing, because my thin icing, the polka dots were big because I had it open more. So these might have a little texture to them. If you use your thicker icing with wet on wet, it's not going to get as smooth as if you use your regular ice or your flood icing. But it's your present. You can do whatever you want, even if it is not as smooth as it could potentially have been. Who cares? If that is the case and you don't want the 3-dimensional dots, all you have to do is kind of tamp it down a little bit with your stick. Any that are standing tall, if you feel like. You don't have to. You can also use your blood consistency icing. Some bigger dots here. And I've let it sit for a little bit longer before I got this one out. So it's a little crusty because Colorado crusts fast. So even my blood consistency is sticking up a smidge. So I would just come back and all I do is go straight up and down, and it kind of pushes that wet icing down into the base color, sorry. Coming at it, not from right above. And then when it dries or crusts, it's going to be flat. Like you can run your finger across it when it's completely dry, and it won't, you won't feel any bumps. It'll just feel like all it's one icing. It also gives it a little shake. Okay, that actually looks super cute. My dry one, I just did the plain dots, the tiny dots, but that's okay. You know, you have options. So I'm gonna have a red bow. That's my favorite color. And I'm gonna take my thicker icing and I'm just gonna come down from the middle and I'm gonna make 2 lines. Wow, I am really gonna cover up a bunch of these dots, aren't I? Oh well, sorry dots. It's nice knowing ya. Now, if you would like, you can make your bow go across as well. If you've got your piping bag in your hand, you can do this now, but I won't fill it in just yet because I want it to separate from this. Now, another trick is your thinner icing is going to want to sink in the middle. So sometimes you'll see us put an extra line in between just as a little thing to perk up that icing that's going over top. So I am not going to let it dry. Normally I would just let it dry for a couple of minutes to let that middle bit of icing work. Because right now, since I'm going to put wet icing on top of it, it's going to just squish in. It's not going to do its job of holding anything up. That's okay. I don't mind when it dries if it's a little divot because it's for us. So this is thinner icing, but I'm just running down those 2 edges to make sure. I'm kind of, there we go. I'm building it tall. And then I'm gonna come back and just zhuzh it in a little bit. And on this, I am going over my edge lines so that this pretty glossy flood icing is going to be the star of this show. If you have a little extra off the side, I just grab it. I just want to make sure we always have enough to fill in. So, got my pretty ribbon. Now, I would suggest you wait just a smidge and let that crust like we did the gift, just so that we make a much easier delineation between that and it just looks a little bit more realistic. But I had not planned to do side to side. I just got all excited. So I did not make one that had that already done. So the next thing to do while I wait for it to crust is make my little bow. So I'm going to show you 2 different ways. So I can do this and then I'm going to make a little squiggle. I'd let that dry before I fill it in. Or, I hope you can see this. My light is a bad place to show you this. There, maybe that's better. So then I'm going to take it and I'm just going to squeeze harder and go slowly. To make a little loop. And even though this is piping consistency, I'm just gonna kind of shake it almost, and that will smooth out any of my little rough edges from piping and moving. And so I would do either or of these. I wouldn't do both of them on a real one, but just to give you a couple options. So once that's dry, it'll help it from sinking down in the middle. Right now it's not going to do diddly squat, but you are going to let yours dry, I'm sure, because you are a stand-up person. So same dealio here. As we did, earthquake, with all of our filling in. Okay, we're gonna come back to that in just a second. So this is not enough time, but next I would come back with the edge on this side. This little bit I added was like one to move. Just make it go away. And again, gave myself a little too much. Whoops, it's running away from me. That's all right. Kind of looks like a slug. You do this long enough, you start to see like cloud formations, but icing blobs. It's just definitely tough to. Oops, you hear? It's like 1 in the morning, so the dog is wondering why I'm talking and who I'm talking to. So I apologize if you hear anyone. So I'm gonna just very gently move it towards that, just so that you can see that once you let it crust, if you let it crust a little longer than I did, you'll have a very clear that this is going over top of these two. You can see it now, but as it dries, for me, it's probably gonna meld a little bit more into there. So up here, the next thing you would do is, whether you did the loops, if you did both of the loops like this, all you need is the little knot center portion. This, what I think makes it look a little bit more realistic for a bow, is this line that shows dimension. So all you do is you start kind of here in the corner, like in that center piece, and I'm off to the side, I can't really see, I hope I'm getting it in the right spot, and you just make the line right here. If you want, you can make it go all the way around, but I kind of like it the other way. I kind of like just that first line, but it is entirely up to you whether you fill it all the way out or not with an outline. But you see how that kind of looks like this is the front part and that's the back bit is the inside of the bow. So then I'm going to take my piping icing once this is crusted, and probably try not to do this in front of the camera where you can't see it happen, and you just make that little knot, and it's just a dot, and I'm going to just zhuzh it so that the lines come out, and then whichever side you do, it looks super cute. And now you have a little bow and a little present, and it's super fun to do stripes or any kind of wet on wet design, any kind of names or whatever you want to draw with icing on it. Mix colors, just dump colors on top, or sprinkles. It's, I don't know, presents are fun. These are great shapes to decorate when you just feel like doing whatever you want. So thank you so much.